Hi guys, this is Professor Sarah. So we are going to talk about English presentation and English speech today. What's English presentation and speech? And why is it so difficult? How can we make a good presentation and good English speech? This is the questions that we're going to answer today. So you might worry so much, oh my god, my English speaking skill is not very good. So maybe English presentation will be more difficult. English speaking and English speech is different. Even though your English conversation skill is not very good, you can still make a good English presentation or speech if you know some basic skills and basic processes. So today we're going to talk about how we can make a good presentation and what good presentation is. Okay, so let's get started together. Let's talk about what is good English presentation or English speech. So let's read it. Ready? Go. Effective presentation skills can be demonstrated by the difference between knowing something and being able to deliver it. Effective speaking can mean the difference between having a good idea and knowing how to share it with others. The ability to prepare and deliver a successful presentation is illustrated by the difference between interesting audience members and inspiring them to action. So we read what effective presentation is. What is it? What is this talking about? Knowing something and delivering to someone else is totally different. Even though you have a good idea, talking about this to your friends or talking about this to your clients will be a different process. So it says that you have to inspire them to take an action. So presentation is sharing your idea to the audience, and presentation is changing their mind. Sometimes you have to persuade them so you can change their mind to buy your products, or maybe make a challenge in their life, or maybe protect the environment. There are many goals of a presentation, but sometimes you have to persuade them. Okay, so making a good presentation will be totally different from making a good conversation with people. So you have to know effective presentation skills in order to motivate them, and also to share good information and making them to take an action. So now we're going to talk about what are the basic concepts and what are the basic procedures before you make a good presentation. Let's talk about this together. Okay, so even though your English speaking skill is good, you still have to make a plan. What is a plan? It's an outline. So before you actually start a presentation, you have to make a plan based on the structure of a presentation. For example, for my introduction, I will talk about this. For my main information, which is body, I'm going to talk about this. For my conclusion, I will talk about this and ask a question to the audience. So you make an outline, okay, that shows your processes. And based on your outline, you will make a script. Script is actually your saying. So even though your English skill is not very good, okay, if you have a good outline and script, your presentation sounds very professional. Next one is making a good introduction. English presentation or speech is composed of 3 parts. First one is introduction. Second one is body, and number 3 is conclusion. But I can say that introduction can be the most important part because this is the starting point. People pay attention to you, so when you make a good introduction, the audience can say that, oh, this presentation sounds very interesting, I want to pay attention. So if you make a successful introduction, you're most likely to make a good presentation until the end. Next one is use visual charts. Your presentations can be very boring if you just use so many text. But if you use some pictures, some graphs, some charts, which are visual, then it can be effective and it can also grab people's attention. So I strongly recommend you make a PPT using some pictures and graphs. Next one is very important. It's use powerful voice, facial expressions, and body language. First one is powerful voice. If you make very small voice or weak voice, nobody will pay attention to you. But if you use stronger voice and it sounds very firm, then people will trust you. And your voice says like, okay, I can trust this information. Audience will of course pay attention to you, but also maybe you'll be more likely to persuade their mind and change their mind, so you can actually make them to take an action. Next one is facial expression. So when I talk, sometimes I smile. When I talk, sometimes I make a sad face. It's changing according to my contents. So you can use your facial expression effectively so your contents can be delivered in a more effective way. Next one is body language. Your posture is also important. How you stand up, how you use your hands, how you point some pictures, that's also body language. Next one, it's make a good linking between introduction, body, and conclusion. So if you make a good connection between introduction, body, and conclusion, your presentation can make a good flow and it sounds very smooth. Last one, but not least, it's making a good interaction with audience. So if you talk just one way, your presentation can sound very boring. But if you make some interaction or connection with people, your presentation can sound much more interesting. Sometimes you can ask a question, sometimes you can answer their questions. Okay, so we briefly talk about what are important to make an effective presentation. What do you remember? Okay, making a good introduction is very important. Use powerful voice. Use facial expressions, smile. Sometimes you make an unfortunate face. Sometimes you make a sad face. Okay, it can change according to the contents or the information that you're delivering. You can use some body language. You can use some hands, point something. Also make a good posture. Also, you can make a good linking point between, introduction, body, and conclusion. Also, you can make a good interaction with the audience. Remember these things. These are very basic but very important skills. And I'm going to explain in details one by one. Okay? Okay. So if you have a basic idea on presentation and speech, then you're set. You're ready. Okay, so let's go and talk about this in more details. Okay, so we briefly talk about what are important to make an effective presentation. What do you remember? Okay, making a good introduction is very important. Use powerful voice. Use facial expressions, smile. Sometimes you make an unfortunate face. Sometimes you make a sad face. Okay, it can change according to the contents or the information that you're delivering. You can use some body language. You can use some hands, point something. Also make a good posture. Also, you can make a good linking point between, introduction, body, and conclusion. Also, you can make a good interaction with the audience. Remember these things. These are very basic but very important skills. And I'm going to explain in details one by one, okay? From the lessons that we're going to talk about. Okay, so if you have a basic idea on presentation and speech, then you're set. You're ready. Okay, so let's go and talk about this in more details. Now we're going to talk about different types of speech or presentation. Of course, you can make a presentation in a class at school, but when you work at a company and you're employed, okay, you can make a different types of presentation. Sometimes you'll have a chance to talk about your product, okay, or sometimes you can talk about your idea at a conference. Sometimes you'll have a debate like at a seminar. So let's talk about different types of presentation and speech. And based on the types or structure of this, maybe your style has to be also changed. And the skills that you have to know will be also slightly different based on the presentation types. First one is press conference. So two chief executives tell journalists why their companies have merged. So you have one company and there is another company. So both from each company, okay, will talk about their company's news to many news reporters. That will be press conference. Next one is briefing. A senior officer gives information to other officers about a police operation they're about to undertake. So briefing, usually a higher member will talk about what is going on at this company to the members who are lower than them. So it's like an announcement. Next one is demonstration. The head of research and development demonstrates non-technical colleagues about a new machine. Okay, so it'll be like this. I work at a Samsung company and we just bought a new machine. So maybe a head of research team member can talk about how this machine can be used, what techniques or skills that we can maybe use by making this machine or using this machine. Next one is product launch. A car company announces a new model. That's launching. Next one is lecture. A university professor communicates information about economics to 300 students. So I'm also giving a presentation to you. I'm giving a lecture to you, right? Talk. A member of stamp collecting club tells about members about 19th century British stamps. This is an example of talk. So you have a club, okay, and your club, it's like a collecting stamps. And you want to just share some information on, okay, 19th century stamps of Britain. Next one is seminar. A financial advisor gives advice about investments to a people. Last one is workshop. A yoga expert tells people how to improve their breathing techniques and gets them to practice. Okay, so there are many different types of speech and presentation. And your presentation can be different. Sometimes if it's very formal, okay, then you have to be very polite, and your language, your English also has to be spoken in a polite way. Okay, for example, press conference. It's a very formal position and situation that you're talking to the journalists, news reporters, so maybe you have to be very polite and you use a formal way of speaking. If it's just like a casual talk in a club, then you don't have to be, very informal. You can be maybe casual a little bit and talk friendly. So you have to know and understand what this presentation is. What's the type of this presentation? So you can be flexible and changing maybe your style and how you talk. Now we're going to move on to introduction. Introduction is very important because this is the beginning part of presentation. So when you make a good introduction, then you are most likely to make a good presentation. If you fail to make a good introduction, then your presentation will be very difficult. People will not pay attention to you. So it is very important to make an interesting hook in your introduction, make a strong voice. But good introduction, the contents should be also very important and effective. So how can you make a good introduction? Let's talk about this, and we'll deal with how we can make a good introduction in good manner. Next thing that we'll talk about is outline. So this is divided by 5 parts. It's usually main 3 parts: introduction, body, main part, and conclusion, but I divide into more details. So look at this presentation structure below. Okay, so first one is number 1, introduction. Number 2 is outline. This is the process. Number 3 is main part. And 4 is summary, and 5 is conclusion. And you write key points or ideas for each part. In this part, when you make a plan, you don't have to write every single sentence in detail. So please don't write complete sentences. That will be too much. You can write complete sentences when you write a script. But when you make an outline, okay, you can just write some keywords, key points, and some ideas. And based on this key points or structure, you can write a script fully in a complete sentences later. Okay, so I talk about English presentation, English speech, the structures, basic things. But now I'm going to talk about very, very important key points of English speech. Okay, some parts will be repeated, some parts will be new, so please pay attention to it. So what is important for English speech? First one, eye contact is very important. When I give you a lecture, also which is a part of presentation, I try to look at all students to make an eye contact with every single person. Because making an eye contact is a good way to make an introduction with the audience, so people can pay attention to you, and you can also see if they are following you or understanding you. Please don't read. Sometimes people make a script and cover their face with the paper and just read, and it sounds very, very boring. So please keep in mind that making a good eye contact, it's really important. Number 2, voice. And when you make a voice, you know that you have to make a strong voice, but also you can use different tone and intonation to deliver an effective message. And we'll talk about this in detail soon. Next one is details. So 5W and 1H. What are 5W and 1H? Okay, so sometimes you talk about maybe your bucket list and you want to say, oh, I want to travel. That's it. That's not details. You can talk about where you want to go, when you want to go, who you want to go with, why you want to go that country, what you want to do there. So you have to give information in details so people can make an imagination. Last one we talk about is interaction with audience. So these 4 things are very important presentation manner and skills. So when you make a presentation or speech in this class, I'll look carefully into these details and these categories. So please keep in mind eye contact, tone and intonation, details, interaction with audience. In this part, you will understand the importance of making introduction and prepare an effective introduction and start a presentation with a strong beginning. Okay, so having a strong start for your presentation, Introduction is very important because this is mini presentation. Let's read this description together in one voice. Ready? Go! The importance of the introduction to your presentation warrants as much attention as the actual presentation itself. Just like the idiom, first impressions are the most lasting. With a great start, you can create a positive, lasting presentation and pave the way for a presentation that achieves your purpose. Psychologists have reported that we recall items that are presented first. This phenomenon is known as the primary affect. Thus, the beginning of the presentation is the point at which the audience's attention to your stimuli is at its peak. Therefore, it is crucial to capitalize on this effective by having a striking introduction. Okay, so we read descriptions about introduction. So what is this talking about? Making a good introduction is like making a good impressions. So have you ever had blind dates before? So if you had blind dates, maybe with the guy or with the girl, maybe you will think that, okay, I want to meet this person for the next time. I don't want to meet this person anymore. You can decide and make a decision by the first impression that you got from this person. For example, I had a blind date and he was very late. He was 15 minutes late, but he never says sorry. Also, the way he talks to me was like not in a good manner. Or maybe he's not dressed up. Or maybe he never asks you questions. Then maybe your impressions, okay, the impression that you got from this person, this girl or this guy, will be not so much good. So you will think, okay, I don't want to meet this person anymore. There will be no second date. So making a good introduction is giving a good impression to the audience. So audience can maybe decide, okay, I want to listen to this presentation. Okay, this presentation sounds very boring. I don't want to pay attention to you anymore. So primary effect, it's like a first impression. So introduction is like a mini presentation. So you want to give a good feelings to the audience. That's why introduction is so much important. Let's keep going. To prepare for an effective introduction, you must first understand what it can and should accomplish. While the purpose of the introduction is to introduce your topic to your audience, it also introduces the audience to you. The introduction gives the audience time to adjust, settle in, block out distractions, and focus their attention on you and your message. It simultaneously gives you, as a presenter, the chance to familiarize yourself with the audience, relax, and make any last-minute adjustments to what you want to say and how you want to say it. A good introduction establishes a relationship among three elements: you, your message, and your audience. Okay, so introduction, you can be also familiar with the audience. For example, you can talk about who you are, and maybe you can make some connection with the audience, maybe by making some jokes. Okay, and you can set the tone. Okay, this is how we're going to talk about. Okay, this is how I'm going to talk about. And you want to get attention from the audience so they can actually focus on your message and you. So from now, okay, you are the most important person because everybody has to pay attention to you. So you have to set the vibe and the mood. And introduction, okay, this is the point when you have to make a good vibes between you and the audience. Do you understand? Okay, moving on now, let's talk about some useful expressions that you can make for the introduction. So first, you can welcome the audience. Okay, I'm going to read. Please repeat after me. Don't just look at it. Okay, listen to it. When I speak, I'll give you time for you to practice and repeat after me so you can open your mouth and speak out. Okay, guys, ready? I'll go first. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, esteemed guest. Good evening, members of the board. Good evening, members of fellow colleagues. It's my pleasure to welcome you today. Next one is introducing yourself. Let me introduce myself. I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Sarah. I'm Sarah from Canada. I'm the manager of producing team. My name is Sarah. I'd like to talk to you today about environmental issue. Okay, so when there is a blank, you can fill your information. You can talk about the topic that you want to talk about, and you can also put your name on it. Next one is introducing your subject, your topic. Okay, ready? I'm going to talk, I'm going to read, and you can repeat after me, and please put maybe your topic in the blanks. Today, I'm going to talk about the subject of my presentation is, the theme of my talk is, I'm here today to present. I'll be talking about. Good job, okay? Please keep repeating after me, okay? Don't just listen or don't just look at it. Next thing, to get the audience attention. Have you ever heard of global warming? Every day you encounter environmental issue in your life. Today's topic is of particular interest to us who you may have wondered why it became so much hot. Okay, how was it? So we talk about, different parts that you can use in the introduction. Please include every single part. You don't have to use all the sentences, but you can talk about, how we welcome the audience. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and then introduce yourself. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sarah. I'm Sarah from Canada. I'm a professor of Gyeongju University. I'd like to talk to you today about how we can make a good presentation. Or you can say, I'll be talking about good presentation skills. Have you ever heard a presentation? Have you ever made a presentation in your life in English? You may have wondered how we can make a good presentation. Okay, so I used the sentences we just read together, we just practiced together, and I made an introduction from the beginning to the end. So even though your English conversation or speaking skill is not very good, you can just copy this sentence and just apply your topic, your information, and remember. Then you will sound very fluent. And this is a strategy to make a good introduction. Do you get it? Okay, so now let's talk about in more details. Let's go over some more of useful expressions. There are two different ways of talking. First one is formal. Second one is informal. Formal, maybe you want to be very polite. This is a very serious presentation. For example, it's a conference. You're talking to the journalist. It's a very big event. But sometimes you want to be a little bit casual because it's not so much serious situation. So you want to be less formal. So let's talk about formal expressions first that you can use in an introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'd like to let me start by introducing myself. My name is. It's a pleasure to welcome you today. The topic of today's presentation is. Okay, I want you to have some time and maybe stop and please read it again yourself, okay? please read it carefully, okay, and pronounce sentence correctly. Moving on, we're going to talk about less formal expressions used in an introduction. Okay, let's read it. Okay, please repeat after me. Ready? Go. Hi everyone. In my talk, I'll tell you about. Today I'm going to talk about. It's good to see you guys here. What I want to do today is. Okay, please make a pause and take a moment for you to practice and read it once again so you can review. So when you make a presentation next time, make sure to figure out first this is formal presentation or informal presentation. And you can select and choose the maybe way you can talk and just apply the expression that we just went over together. Okay, so now we're going to talk about structure of introduction. So there are 3 different parts: speaker, message, and audience. So first one, number 1, you have to introduce who you are, who speaker is. Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a professor of Gyeonggi University. Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm majoring in culinary arts at Gyeonggi University. Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a manager of a research team. Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm in charge of production team. Hi, my name is Jimmy. I'm in charge of customer service in ABC company. There are many ways that you can introduce yourself, but the basic information you can talk about is your name and your position at a company. If you're a student, then you can talk about your major. Next one, the message. Introduce main topic or main message of the speech or presentation. So you will talk about why you want to make this presentation. The main topic of this presentation, that will be the main message. So after you present who you are, second will be the main topic. Number 3 is making a good interaction with the audience. So sometimes you can ask a question to them, sometimes you can make jokes, and you can make a good connection between you and the audience in the introduction. Okay, so there are 3 main parts that you have to include in the introduction. Number 1 is speaker, number 2 is message, and number 3 is audience. And you should not forget just every single thing. Okay, you have to include everything, then you can make a good introduction. Okay, so for example, it will be like this. First one, speaker. Hi, my name is Sarah. Today, I'm going to talk about how we can save our environment. Have you ever heard about global warming? Every day you encounter some environmental issues and you think this is not directly related to you. But actually, this is very important because it makes a change and impact in your life. Okay, so let's talk about global warming of this environmental issue together. Let's start it. Okay, so I just made a very basic introduction based on speaker, message, and the audience. And the last part I talked about was trying to make an episode so I can make a good connection between me and interaction between audience. Okay, so please don't forget. Don't just say, hi, my name is Sarah. I major in business. Let's talk about environment. Start. That's very weak introduction. Okay, so please make a strong introduction and make it interesting so you can get attention from the audience. And it's a good primary effect for you to make a good impression for the entire presentation. So now you might wonder, okay, how long introduction should be? So introduction shouldn't be too long. Okay, it can be generally 10%. Okay, So your presentation is like 100% and it can be 10%. And if you make too long, then you're losing your time to focus on your main topic. And presentation, people will not pay attention to you, and it'll be distrustful. So please don't make it too long and make it to maybe maximum 10% of your entire presentation. Okay, so now we're gonna go over some case studies for introduction. This is very interesting, and we can actually learn more practically, okay, by going over some examples. So please pay attention to it. So I'm going to show you two cases, case 1 and case 2, and we're going to make a decision. Which one is better? You can make a choice, okay? So please read case 1 and case 2 carefully with me. I'll give you some time to make a decision, and you can tell me which one is better, okay? Let's go over the case number 1 together. Ready? Let's read in one voice. Go. Hi everyone, my name is Marty, and I work at PR Studio, which is an independent company. Thanks for coming today to my panel. Well, today I'm going to introduce you guys to our new coding method, which will allow you to take the security of today's social information to another level. Okay, so with the ever-growing and brilliant minds of computer technology, so many people are getting their social information exposed to bad people online. So we came up with a complex method which can be further the complexity of your security codes. So let's stop beating around the bush and get straight to the point. Okay, case number 1. Please read it over yourself. I'll give you some time. Try to understand it. Okay? And maybe make decision and think about, is this good introduction or bad introduction? Okay. Can we move on to case 2? Let's move on to case 2. Case 2. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Martin Skiglowski, and it is my pleasure to be speaking here to you today. I'm the head of developer of the independent company PR Studio, and we specialize in the development of security softwares. Today, my topic of interest is the innovative coding method of social security programs. With the advancement of computer technology, maintain security control over your social information is getting difficult by the minute. Therefore, today I'd like to introduce you to a new method of Unicoding, followed by an explanation of how to implement this method in today's security systems. Lastly, I'll demonstrate how this method benefits us as a whole. Let's not keep you waiting and get started. Please don't hesitate to interrupt me if you have any questions during my presentation. Did you read it? So which one is better? So number 1, number 2, I'll give you some time. Please take a look. Their style is very different. Okay, so when you want to maybe evaluate this, you can think about the structure. So first one was speaker, message, and the audience. Did the case 1 include speaker? Martin, I work at PR Studio. Yes. Okay, they introduce who he is. And also, did they talk about the message? Today I'm going to introduce yes. Okay. And next one, did they make an interaction with the audience? It sounds like it. Okay, so case 1 is not a bad introduction, but you can see that this is very casual. So this is informal presentation. So I think this is not so much formal or serious situation, but maybe this is something or some situation that you can freely talk about. So they use casual conversation way. Let's look at case 2 carefully. Okay, how about this? Did they include speaker? Yeah, speaker, Martin. Okay, and then he also introduced about, his position, head developer. And the main message today, my topic of interest, they talk about the message, and also he also talk about introduction at the end. So I can say that case 1, case 2, it's actually they are both good introduction, but the way of talking it's very different. Case 2, it's more formal. So depending on situation, you can use casual way like case 1 and formal way like case 2. Do you understand? Okay, let's move on and go over some of more case studies. Okay, this is a little bit different. First two cases that we went over was formal versus informal. This is a little bit different style, and we can also look at case 1 and case 2 and make a decision. Okay, I'll give you time. Please read it carefully. Case 1. Let's read it in one voice together. Okay, please read it with me. Ready? Go. I'm very sorry that I'm late. I was so busy with my other work that I completely forgot about the meeting that I scheduled today. So how has every day been so far? Well, let's get going then. So I invited everyone here today because I wanted to discuss something of importance. So the main issue here is that corporate image of our company, H Motors, has been going downhill for quite some time. I called all of you to brainstorm ideas that can improve your company's image. So do any of you have some ideas to start us off? Anything will be appreciated. What do you think about this case 1, introduction? Is it good? Is it bad? If it's good, why is it good? If it's bad, why is it bad? Does this case 1 include all 3 parts, which is speaker, message, and audience? Yes or no? Please answer these questions and make a decision. Let's look at case 2. You can pause the video and then also read it by yourself and try to understand it and make a decision after we read in one voice together. Ready? Go. Thank you for waiting patiently. I'm Jay Smith, and I was recently hired as a PR manager to resolve an important issue. Before we get started, I have invited here today the senior managers of our company, Mr. Jackson and Mrs. William. I've also invited expert consultants, Mr. Kim and Ms. Black. The issue we're facing is the fact that the corporate image of our company, H Motors, has been recently declining. With the growing popularity of Go Green movements, this social change has become a niche for many different companies, including some in the automobile industries. Our company is lagging behind. I would like to consult the experts and ask for advice from the experienced seniors here with us today. Okay, so case 1 and case 2, they're talking about the same topic, okay, but the style is totally different. Which one is better, number 1 or number 2? Here, I will say the answer with number 2 is better. Why is number 2 better than number 1? So let's look at carefully again from the beginning. So number 1, case 1, did not include the speaker. So this person did not talk about who he is or what's the position of him. And he just directly went into the topic, but there's no connection between audience. He just went up right away. And also, he doesn't have good manner. Very late, so busy. I was so busy. I forgot about this meeting. Who will be happy about, this introduction? Nobody will be happy and think, okay, this is not a good manner. Okay? So, case 1 is a not good introduction. Now, let's move on to case 2. So, did he talk about who he is? Yes, he is Jay Smith. Did he talk about his position? Yes, he's a manager. Okay, so did he talk about his issue or topic? Yes, we talk about the going down image of his company, the H Motors. Did he make a good interaction between audience? Yes, he say, "Oh, I want to ask the advice to you." Okay, and also the way he talks is very formal and polite. So I'll say case 2 is much better than case 1. Is your answer correct? Did you also choose case 2? I'm pretty sure you made a good decision. Okay, and we're gonna move on to next part. So we evaluated making a good introduction, and how can we evaluate it? There are some checklists for introduction. Okay, so first one, did it welcome the audience? Hi everybody, hello ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and also did it have good outline? Okay, and then also the structure of time of the talk. Okay, so sometimes if introduction is too long, that will be so much painful for other people. But if you make a good introduction, then your timing also is very important. Introduce yourself. So did you introduce yourself? Okay, hi, my name is Jay Smith. I'm a manager of blah blah team of this H Motors. Provide a preview of the main points. Okay, so today I'll be talking about the main messages of it. Also, state the topic and title. Yes, what is the topic? What is the title that we're going to talk about? Also, you can motivate listeners to accept presentation goals. I want to talk about and get some advice from you, the experts. Okay, so did it explain why the topic is important? Yes, our image of H motor is going down. Okay, so we wanna make a change in this image. State when the audience can ask questions. Okay, so you can say, oh, okay, you can stop me and ask me questions. Okay, so these are the criteria and the checklist that you can actually make, and then check if they're okay. If this introduction included all the main messages. So after you made an introduction for your presentation, check for yourself. Don't just say, hi, my name is Sarah. My major is, hi, my name is Sarah. My position is, let's talk about it. Go. That's not a good introduction. Okay, and you can include all these parts. Okay, so based on this criteria, you can give marks, okay, and self-evaluate it based on this rubric. Welcome the audience. Okay, introduction, state the topic. Okay, so welcome the audience. Okay, very good, excellent. Introduce himself. Yeah, good. State the topic. Good. Explain why topic is important. Okay, not bad. Outline the structure of the time. Oh my god, I forgot. So number 1, provide preview of the main points. Oh, okay, it was a little bit weak. Next one, motivate listeners to accept the main points. Yeah, I think it was okay. State when the question can be asked. Yeah, I did, but it was not very clear. So I will say number 2, poor. So you can actually self-evaluate it based on this rubric. Okay, so today we talk about presentation and the first part, which is introduction. So some people think that, okay, introduction is not very important. I just can talk about who I am and just can talk about my topic and finish. That's not it. Introduction is the most important part of your presentation or speech because it's a primary aspect. You make a good impression to the audience, and audience can decide whether I want to pay attention to this presentation or not. So when you make a presentation, please make a good introduction. So what do you remember from the lessons? First, don't make it too long. 10% of the entire presentation is enough for introduction. You have to include 3 parts, okay? What are the 3 parts? First one is speaker, name, position. Number 2 is the message, your topic, the goal of this presentation. Number 3 is interaction with the audience. You can talk about the episode to make a good connection between you and the audience. set the tone of your presentation. Also, you can talk about, okay, you can ask me questions at the end of the presentation. Okay, so this is the part that you can make a good vibe, okay, and good impressions about you as a speaker and the presentation as a message. How was it? So I hope this lesson is helpful for you, so you can make a good introduction, which is the most important part of your presentation. Okay, thank you for watching.